Hello, Internet. I am Zed with ZXS Gaming, and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, with Salcan. When last we left off with our adventurous hero, he had just gotten the main quest to send him into his first dungeon, Sashtasha. Go in there after pirates or Sahagan or whatever else is in there. So that's what we're going to do today. So, as I explained last time, there's a couple different ways to go about this. And I'm going to queue for a random... Let's see, let's put my chat in party. A random group. So let's go ahead and hit the join button, see what the forecast is. So when you go to join a random group, it'll put the information up here. So it says average wait time 10 minutes, and then this gives a little breakdown: 0 out of 1 tanks, 0 out of 1 healers, and 1 out of 2 DPS, which is me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and we will start recording again once the dungeon becomes available. So I will see everybody in a minute. And we're back. Our dungeon has just popped, so we're going to hit the button and go. Alright. You can escape through the initial cutscene. Say howdy to folks. Let's see, the tank. Put them on focus. That'll put a little thing above their head. Get rid of this. Thank you. Okay. So the tank did not pull the first group into the second group. I'll get the color. Bloody memo. Red. So the color becomes important later in this dungeon. This dungeon does not have a ton of mechanics, but it does kind of have that little cool mechanic. Get to one of the bosses, and there are different pieces of coral. If you pick the right piece of coral, nothing happens. If you pick the wrong piece of coral, you get extra spawns. Okay, so this tank is taking their time. I could probably do like an entire book on the on how to tank and like how fast you should go. And there's also about 43,000 different opinions on that. This is a low-level dungeon, so I'm honestly happy to see the tank kind of just taking their time, because you don't know, in low-level starter dungeons, you don't know how good or bad the other people are, how familiar they are with the game. You will see some people just come in here and, like, you know, keep pulling groups and keep pulling groups and keep pulling groups. Almost like they're racing. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as everyone else in the group is up for that. And that's where things can kind of quickly fall apart. Generally speaking, I will go relatively quickly when I'm playing with friends, but when you're playing with random people, you kind of have to gauge it a little more. Like right in here, you can end up pulling a whole lot of monsters at once and dying very quickly if you're not careful. Didn't drop aggro with those clams. They're still showing up on my monster list. Okay, treasure chest. Yeah. Let's see. If you can knead on it, usually you just, you say go ahead and knead on it. The game allows you to knead on something basically that you can wear for your class. If it's, since I'm a bard, those had to be items that, or well, right now I'm an archer, but archer, bard, same thing. That had to be stuff that I could wear, otherwise it wouldn't have let me knead on it. Let's see. We'll take out the ads first. So one thing to always watch when you first start doing dungeons is read on that, is to make sure if you're the tank, you put up your little threat ability. So this is Paladin. So he's got an ability called Iron Will. And that's what makes the monsters attack him instead of attacking other people. And that's the tank's job. Keep the monsters attacking him. It's always good when you pull, when you start combat with a group, give the tank a couple seconds to make sure that they get their, pick up the key. To get their AoE ability off, to make sure I'm following the tank. I don't know what you other people are doing. I'm not sure what that... What is he? He's a rogue? That's usually not really considered to be good etiquette, is you let the tank pull. Because the tank's job is controlling the monsters, not just making sure you have threat, but also positioning them. And when you pull for the tank, you're putting stuff in position where maybe the tank doesn't want them. Alright, we got the key. I always forget you have to get in here to get the second key. The first key opens this door, the second key opens the next door. And again, there's a lot of people that will, you know, say it's not such a big deal, you know, it's a low-level dungeon, you can get away with stuff like that. And I always look at it as, it's a low-level dungeon, so you should practice to play the right way, so when you do get to a challenging dungeon, you know what you're doing and you're not dying all over the place. Okay, when this guy gets down to like 50%, if you look over to the left, you see a gate. We're gonna get some Dougies that are gonna get them in. So let's make sure the tank picks them up. Yeah, it looks like he's got them. You can tell on your list here if they show up green. Oh, what did I get? Oh, I got to level 20. Nice. I'm gonna wait. So we have a ranged unit over here who is not joining the group. There we go. Now he's getting closer. So let's move Peloton down here. Okay, pretty smooth. Got to the last boss. This boss has got one kind of interesting mechanic. So you've got these plates where you see the unusual ripples. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to click on them. When they start bubbling. And that prevents... Let's see. Nope, didn't get any on mine. There's some over here. I'll channel this one. This prevents ads from coming up. Now, this guy dies so quickly, you don't really need to do that mechanic. You can actually kill him, yes, before the ads really show up. So people skip it. We'll give it to the tank. It's giving a commendation. Let's see. Need and need. Alright. So commendations. If you look at your profile, or no, it's reputation. So when you run dungeons, players can give you commendations at the end. It's basically, you know, just kind of like a thumbs up. And most of the time, people give commendations to the tanks and the healers because they're doing the heavy lifting. You know, the DPS are just, we're along for the ride. And then there are certain achievements that are tied to commendations. So people, will run dungeons trying to get commendations, as a tank. All right, so that's our first dungeon. And that was pretty quick. And Quest wants us to go back to Limsa now. Let's go ahead and go back to Limsa. Let's see, my home port is Gridania right now. I'll probably change that later. So let's see. I only have one favorite. So I should probably set Limsa as one of my other favorites, because I'll be making this trip. Alright. And we gotta go talk to the guy in the bar. The guy without H's. Tell him I found some of his H's. All right. Such a task was on the books. Was, mind. I'm afraid that ship has already sailed, friend. He's still missing more H's, isn't he? Ah, might you be the adventurer who accepted the job of investigating Sashtasha? Yes. Humph. It would seem that ship has not only sailed, but now returns to harbor, none the worse for its voyage. A pity. We dragged our boots too long on this one. Well, yes, you did. No matter. The wheel will turn and our chance will come. You are right, of course. There shall be no rest until we have attained our goal, lofty though it may be. Not a wink of sleep, great leader. Our aim, lest you wonder, is to perform such feats of heroism as will earn us a place in the songs of every alehouse in Eorzea. That's pretty lofty. We mean to write a legend which will inspire adventurers as yet unborn to follow our shining example. Do you have such a goal? Large or small, it matters not. Only have a star to reach for and you will reach higher. Purpose can sustain you through times of hardship. Keep your eye on the prize, and all obstacles will be overcome in time. You would not to think to stride into battle unclad, would you? Well, goals are as arms and armor for the spirit. I wish you fortune in your endeavors, sir. Back then are ye, with all your limbs and a tale to tell, I wager. Why, yes. I killed some pirates and some other strange things. Fishbacks. And there I was thinking you'd only have to crack a pirate skull or 3, 7 hells. You turn your back for 5 bloody minutes, and the scaly bastards have set up shop on your bleeding doorstep. Still sounds like you left them in pieces, so I don't suppose they'll be carrying out whatever mischief they were planning. Unless they were planning on feeding themselves to the fauna of Sashtasha, of course. Any road. All's well that ends well. On behalf of Limsa, I thank you for shedding some light on this mystery. You've lived up to your reputation, and I couldn't ask for more than that. Now, I'll bet you're dying for a rest, but just in case you're not, I was wondering if you might be interested in taking on another job. Just so happens that I've had a request from our sister guild in Gridania, see? Seems the forest folk are in need of a venturer which can get things done. For them to ask for help like this, you can bet the task won't be no skip through a sunny glade. But after the way ye dealt with our fishback infestation, I doubt it's anything ye can't handle. Give us a shout when you're ready, and I'll lay it out for ye. Okie dokie. That's a lot of XP. I'm up to level 22. I think I went in there at level 19. Baderon has information on a new task. Ready to hear about that job, then. Like I said, the request comes from our sister guild in Gridania. And that's all I know. But whatever it is ye get asked to do, I somehow doubt it pose any trouble for a venturer as survived the Bedlam and Sashtasha. If you think you might be interested, you'll want to have words with Mother Mune, be counterpart in Gridania. Good luck, mate. Alrighty. Go see Mama Mune. So let's see, what did I get in there anyway? Anything interesting? I got an Orchestrion scroll. That means I can use that when I'm in the inn. Let's see, I got a plundered short bow. Is that better than mine? Item level 15, item level 15. Oh, it is more damage. Okay. Well, let's take that. And we'll get the one out of the armory chest. Could sell that. Let's see. Level 15 legs. Okay. That's an improvement. Earring is not, because I've got the the one from buying the upgraded version of the game. So that's not going to do me any good. And let's see. Hands. And hands. That's level... Yep, that's an upgrade. You can do item comparison and it'll bring it up like this so you can see. Yep. Alright. Okay. So we're going to sell that, and then this stuff I'm just keeping in my inventory until I get to the point where I can store it. We don't have storage yet. Alright. Let's go ahead and head back to Gridania. And we'll go talk to Mom. Now, since we did get past level 20, you'll notice up here we did get a new archer quest, but I'm going to hold that off for now. Instead, first we're going to repair. Talk to the mender. And we'll talk to Mother Mune. Take a seat wherever you like, friend. Our waitress will come take your... Oh, it's you, Zalkan. 'Tis so good to see you again. What's that? Here at Baderon's suggestion, you say? The foul-mouthed rogue sends me word that an adventurer might be along for the job, and it turns out to be you. Well, this makes things a lot easier, doesn't it? With regard to the task in question, there's a fair bit to tell. Let me know when you're ready to hear the details, and I shall brief you. Alright. Go ahead and brief me. Ready for that briefing? Good. Now then, here's the long and short of it. Beg pardons for interrupting, Mion, but our need grows ever more pressing. Have none step forward? Laywin. Mother Mion, good evening to you too, Bow Lord. Your need must be pressing indeed for you to honor us with a visit. The good news is your journey hasn't been wasted. I'm pleased to report that we have a volunteer at last, and one who comes highly recommended at that. Oh, he's one of, yeah, this guy. Well, if it isn't our very own man for all seasons, you certainly have a knack for appearing when you're most needed, Zalkan. My thanks for answering the call. Now, time is of the essence, so I shall proceed directly to the heart of the matter. We wish for you to nip a potential threat to Gridania in the bud. Beneath the central shroud, there lies an underground burial site called the Tam Tara Deepcroft. The place was once a Gelmoran settlement, but we Gridanians have long interred our dead there. Of late, however, shadowy figures have been seen skulking about the Deepcroft, and with ever-increasing regularity. Based on the accounts of various witnesses, we suspect that these individuals belong to the Lambs of Dalamud, a doomsday cult which sprung up prior to the Calamity. These zealots have proven themselves dangerous in the past, and we leave them to their own devices at our peril. Ordinarily, I would have dispatched my best men to scour the Deepcroft with orders to flush the cultists out. Alas, the Calamity decimated our ranks, and the limited forces at my disposal are constantly required to keep the Ixal at bay. Since we thwarted their attack on the Guardian Tree, the Birdmen have not allowed us a moment's respite. They have probed every ilm of our defenses in search of a weakness, compelling me to spread our forces far more thinly than I would like. The situation so being, we have no choice but to entrust the task of dealing with the Lambs of Dalamud to others. Can we rely on you to handle this matter? Yeah, sure. You have my gratitude. Once you've seen to your preparations, make your way to the Deepcroft and identify yourself to the guard posted at the entrance. He will apprise you of the latest developments, that is all. Be careful out there, you hear? May the crystal guide you and keep you. Alright. So they're sending us to another dungeon. Speak with the Quiverman at the entrance. So that's going down to Bent Branch Meadows. Just down that way. So we can go by Aetheryte, or do something a little fun today. My character currently isn't having money problems because one of my other alts sent him some cash, but we'll ride the chocobo down there. Bent Branch Meadows, 1 minute. Only costs 5. Now, I'm not steering this thing, it's steering itself. This is the cheap way to travel. There we are. And it's down this way. So in case you're wondering, let's see, oh, these these guys must be part of the hunting log, which I don't need to worry about that right now. In case you're wondering why I'm putting off the next class quest, is I kind of want to finish this little mini series of quests here. They end up sending you to 3 different dungeons, and then after that you end up meeting some more of the people who are in the main quest. And ooh, am I gonna aggro that? I don't think so. Oh, these are our adventurers that we saw earlier. And we can avoid this. You end up meeting some people that are also part of the main quest, and they give you the ability to hire what's called a retainer. And basically, it is your bank. Not only is it storage, but it's also your method of putting things up on the market board for sale. So it's kind of a critical point in the early part of the game, because up until that point, all the storage you have is just, on you. This is your storage inventory, and that's it. You don't have anything else. So, all of the little things that I've been picking up as we've went along, I've just been stuffing in my bags here, and all this is eventually going to have to come out. All right, let's talk to the guy. You're Zalcan, I take it. Thanks for helping us out, friend. No doubt the Bow Lord has already informed you, but your task is to enter the Deepcroft and purge it of the Lambs of Dalamud. In case you're unfamiliar with them, the cult emerged shortly before the Calamity put an end to the 6th Astral Era. The cultists took the lesser moon Dalamud for their god, believing that it would deliver them from the devastation. Actually, Dalamud is what caused the devastation. And so they were rather disappointed when Dalamud exploded into 1,000 flaming pieces before it could complete its descent. Now, having seen their god turn to ash, actually it wasn't Dalamud the moon that actually just caused the calamity, it was what was inside of it. One would think that the cultists might feel moved to question their faith. On the contrary, it only served to stoke the flames of their fanaticism. The Lambs of Dalamud are convinced that heretics, that is to say, everyone else but them, interfered with the coming of their Lord and Savior, and that's now their sacred duty to avenge him. Whatever it is they're doing in the Deepcroft, you may be sure that no good will come of it. For the sake of Gridania and Eorzea at large, put an end to their madness. Tom Tara Deepcroft is now accessible. Okay. Well, we're going to do the same thing we did last time. We are going to queue for this. Oh, it's telling us we now have the duty roulette. So once you get access to the second dungeon, what you see here is the question mark is called the duty roulette. And what this does is every day these give you an extra bonus. So you'll get duty roulettes for certain levels of dungeons or certain levels of raids or PvP, or as you open up things, you'll get more things in the duty roulette. So if you're really intent on getting XP, you come into your duty roulette and you do whatever the list is daily, and that will give you a bunch of XP. And this is right here, these are the extra rewards that you would get. So if we signed up for the leveling dungeon, it's going to give us a random low-level dungeon based on what we've opened, which in our case is Tasha and Tamtara Deepcroft. Now, we don't want to do that. We just want to go to Tamtara Deepcroft. And let's see. Of the 22 parties currently recruiting, all match your search conditions. So, before we do that, there's a setting in the party finder You get access to the party finder when you open up your first dungeon. The party finder, I haven't played a lot with this, but basically this is how to find a group outside of using the duty finder. So this is, you know, finding a group to do anything. This could be finding a group of RPers to RP, or finding people to, you know, stand around a fountain and, you know, dance or whatever, you know, run, or, you know, doing dungeons and raids. You can see that if you search, you know, like, so you'll get people looking for trials, people looking for raids, etc., etc. These are locked because I don't have access to whatever these people are looking for. But anyway, the reason I came over here, open settings, display advanced search results in log. That's this right here. If you don't turn this off, this will keep spamming your log with the information on the party finder. And since I'm currently not using the party finder, I would rather not get stuff spammed into my log. I don't know why that setting is not turned off baseline, but it is. All right. So let's go back to Dungeon Finder here. Tamtar Deepcroft. We've selected it. Let's join. And average wait time is 7 minutes. So once again, we are going to pause the recording and we will come back when the dungeon queue is available. Okay, our group is popped. Let's go ahead and get in here. We will skip the cutscene. Alright. Put him on focus. Friend of mine, get your food buff. Yeah, some people do that. Okay. And he's got his tank buff on. That's good. Good, good, good. Always like to see that. And we're going to get multiple pulls. Alright. Let's wait to see what he's going to do here. Looks like he's just doing these first two groups together. This is not a big deal. I mean, tank should have enough mitigation not to fall over and die. And you can see he's not really going down there. It's when they keep going and do like 4 groups on top of each other that you start wondering. Okay, he's gonna pull. Now I'm not going to attack things right now because I'm afraid of grabbing his aggro. We'll wait. Alright, so he's got everything set up. See, now he's taking a little damage. That's not a big deal, though. Really, it's all about, can the healer keep up? If the healer can keep up, you know, then things aren't too much of a problem. I gotta stop attacking here. I don't think an AoE is good for 2. Alright. Just do single target attacks. Okay. Let him get aggro. Let's see, still got my dot up. And I don't have an interrupt or a stun. Okay, he's got the orb. Alright. Stay out of the orange. Let's try to target that. Okay. Let's see, he could pull ahead here. But, yep, there he goes. Say 3 was not really going to be a challenge, so. But now we're at 6, he's taking some hits. Looks like the healer's on it. Oh, something came from behind. Didn't even notice that. What's our other DPS? Black Mage. So we have... Between me and him, we got some pretty good AoE. Alright, give him a few seconds. Okay, bad guy spawns. Do some pelotoning here. Yeah, I figured this was going to happen at some point. So is that the healer? That's the healer. So he's telling the tank, you can go bigger. I'm bored. Now, in a higher level dungeon, I always look at that as completely reasonable. A lower level dungeon to me is a little more like there's no harm in asking, but you're still, you don't know what you're really dealing with, you know, because the tank might not be confident of doing something like that. So I think it's fine if you're the healer to ask, but not to expect. Now see, I would have done this pull exactly this way if I was with friends, but I wouldn't have done this pull this way. This is a little much. Tank's gonna take some serious damage here. The other thing is that because you have casters, casters don't move where you want them to. So you end up with a split group. And anytime that your group is split, your DPS's AoE is no longer effective. Which kind of defeats the whole purpose of pulling the two groups in the first place. Yeah, he's probably going to grab them and then pull in the room. And this should be fine. Alright, let's give him a chance to get an AoE on everything. See, he took some big hits there. I'm also not seeing any defensives. The beginning of a big pull like that, a tank should be using a defensive, which he may not have it. I mean, we're so low level, he might only have one. And it might be on cooldown. We'll see if he uses a defensive on the boss pull. This pull is a little sketchy because you have the two groups that are split. So we need to give the tank a sec here. Okay, he should have everything now. Okay, bad guy spawned in the middle. Tank picked him up. And I'm out of range of that. Let's skip the cutscene. And need on that. Actually, we'll pass on that. Okay. Final boss fight. So this guy doesn't do too much. He summons some ads, and the ads, we see the tether, that means he's immune. You need to kill the ads. Okay, you've got one ad that is the tether. I'm going to focus him down. And then we can AoE these little guys. There we go. Get my dot back up. Stay out of range of that. Let's see. Limit break. Should be me. I'll wait to see if we get to the second bar up here. Alright. Get my dot back up. We're not even going to get to it. Alright. Let's do the tank. And we'll do some loot. Alright. Wait for that last piece of loot to go. Okay, that was a successful run. So the last bit there I don't think I've explained before, but limit break is something that only gets used in dungeons. And it's kind of a big, hit the last boss ability. You normally don't use it until the last boss. You saw in the upper left there was a bar. That bar fills up based on you doing damage, and you usually want to wait till you get all the way to the second bar gets full, or the third bar, depending on if you're in a raid. But we had the boss so far down, I just figured I would burn it. As far as etiquette goes, there is an etiquette to limit breaks. Typically, you wait for it on the last boss. If a tank uses the limit break, it gives everybody a defensive shield. Normally, that doesn't happen unless you're in a raid or a trial where there's a special mechanic that requires it. If the healer uses a limit break, it's a big heal, and if it's a big enough limit break, it's a battle res for everybody. And then for the DPS using the limit break, there's 3 different limit breaks. There's one for melee, which is a single target attack. There's one for ranged, which is what it classifies for Bard. And that's kind of the line attack that you saw when I hit the button. And so that can hit multiple things. And then if you're a magic caster, you get a big AoE. So typically you leave the limit break for the melee to use because that's going to do the most damage to the boss. Since we didn't have any melee in that group, I went ahead and took it because the other player was a magic caster. So I was going to do more damage than he was. Okay, so that's my interrupt. We got to level 24. That's a lot of XP. And we need to go back and talk to Mom. So let's go ahead back and go to Gridania. And we'll go park ourselves over here in the canopy. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for today. That was pretty good. Got a lot accomplished. We actually got 2 dungeons finished, the first 2 dungeons. Next time we'll have the 3rd dungeon to do, and then we'll be able to open up our banking and market board stuff. So that will make things a lot easier to deal with as far as the inventory goes. All right, well, I hope everybody enjoyed the Let's Play today. And please do all the things. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Yeah, if you got any questions, leave them in the comment section, and I will get to them as soon as I can. Otherwise, have a great day.